Hello everyone and welcome back to Kirby and the Forgotten Land. In this part, we finish up, hold on, it's, the acronym for this is, Discovery. Wait, is it Discovery?
No, I think that's a bit too long.
No, God, I can't remember what the world is. They all have a little acronym that they do, though. Anyway, we finish up the circus world in this part. With what is probably the most annoying boss in the game, not necessarily the hardest, but one of the ones that took me the most amount of time to do the no-hit for. I almost always end up doing 2 runs of her, because you have to do one where you beat her with the sword, and you have to also do one where you no-hit her. And no-hitting her with the sword I just find very difficult, so I'll just do it twice, one with the gun to do the no-hit, and then one with the sword, just normal.
I have to say that upgraded version of Tornado is pretty fabulous.
Oh, I love it.
It's like a duck masquerade party gown. What's with the duck, though?
I think it's based specifically off one of the
mini bosses.
Mini bosses. Florina, I think, the one that gives you the tornado ability.
Oh, the one that you had to fight twice because she had to freeze her. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. There's at least one other one that's based off of a mini boss. Oh yeah, the ice with Mr. Frosty. You get the Mr. Frosty hat for the second one. I'd love for them to keep doing that, for the record, and like keep on like having certain upgrades also themed after the mini bosses. Like maybe you get a secret ability that's a copy of one of that boss's attacks or whatnot.
I mean, there's the bonkers hammer as well.
Oh yeah, there is the bonkers hammer. You're right. I mean, I also am one of the people who loved the guest star mode in Star Allies. I think that mode single-handedly makes Star Allies a really fun game. Because like the main story in Star Allies, I agree, isn't excellent, but when played as as an arcade style where you can just skip everything and get as much shit as you want, I think that it's a really fun time.
This level just kind of looks like a clusterfuck to me.
Oh, it is. It is. That's exactly what it is. I do, however, the tornado is just so much fun to use that I really don't mind, for the most part. It also you're intended to take it a fair bit slower, but I just don't care. I will say, as fun as these rooms are, I do feel like they break up the pace a little bit, and not necessarily in the best way, because I have found myself a lot of the time trying to do these where I just kind of wish that I was playing another normal level.
Well, that kind of depends on when you, the player, decide to do them. You can always just go to the next normal level whenever you feel like. So
that is true, but if you want to upgrade your stuff, you need to get the gems from them. So
I should point out that you have been outpacing the gem requirements by quite a margin.
That is also true. Yes. So I could skip a good amount of them.
I guess this is just kind of a pet peeve of mine, especially in modern years, where every so often a game will come out, right? And people will complain about how much of a pain in the ass completion is. And to some extent, yeah, I can see those complaints. Sometimes I even share them. But it also tends to come from a very specific mindset that requires completion to be part of the normal gameplay loop on your first time, every time.
I mean, that's all. And again, I'm saying I'm more talking about pacing in terms of doing them as they come up. That's also part of a problem with how I like to play games. I just like to try to go for completion as I go. I like to collect things as I go. I generally don't go straight to the next level as soon as it's available.
Yeah, and you know, I'm kind of the same way. but at the same time, I'm inclined to see that as being less of a problem with the game's design and more an issue with the game's design just not jiving with me personally. And ooh, okay.
Oh, I love the this is the boss fight where the dodge move really starts to become really useful. I think this is actually the boss fight where I discovered that if you dodge, you get like a Bayonetta quick time. No, that's not what it's called.
Bullet time, witch time, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, you slow down time for a bit, and then you can do extra. You can do extra shots, especially with the gun ability.
Speaking of guns and bullet time, I recently watched a video on Max Payne. I think it was Josh Strife Plays, but like...
Oh, Max Payne, that's a name I haven't heard in a long, long time.
I hadn't realized just how thrown together that game was in the best way. Like...
That game, what year did that game come out? Like 2001?
I don't remember, but like, you know, the guy who did the face for Max Payne, that was actually one of the designers.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
Yeah, but like it's that stupid smirking face that everyone associates with Max Payne 1, but it's actually one of the many, many photos that the designer took for the comic book cutscenes, because that whole thing was just the most budget production ever. Like, the bad guy was played by one of the designer's mothers.
Wait, really?
Yes.
That's awesome. Oh my god. That's the best thing I've heard in my entire life.
Oh, hey, Coliseum time.
Oh, we do the Coliseum in this part. That's actually great, because the Coliseum in this game is awesome. I love it.
I could imagine.
More importantly, you got another gacha machine.
Yo, let's go. More gambling.
It's not really gambling. It's just buying stuff from a gumball machine, dude.
Gumball machine is gambling. What if you're hoping you get orange and you end up with grape and then you
quiet. Don't tell the soccer moms. Before you know it, we won't even have gumball machines in our shopping malls anymore. And then what will parents around the world calm their toddlers down with?
Proper parenting techniques?
No. How dare you?
Wow, yeah, that is silly. I apologize.
Okay.
So, but yeah, the Coliseum in this game is effectively just an in-world version of the arena that you're probably used to from other Kirby games. You unlock it mid-game in this, which starts to feel a little weird, but then you get like the version you're used to once you actually beat the main game.
A pencil. Those still exist.
Yes, actually. Along with those like little mini like sharpeners that it comes built in with that never freaking work. Like the you know the one I'm talking about, like the tiny pencil sharpener that like you could have at your desk and like screw on the pencil. Thing never worked for me. I'd always just have to get up and
use a proper pencil
use
sharpener.
A proper one. Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds like one of those TV infomercial grade conveniences that when you finally buy it never work. Welcome to the Coliseum's reception area. You can enter tournaments, blah, blah, blah. Special reward. That's what we're talking about. We want that special reward.
The special reward in this game is actually like awesome. It's the Meta Knight Sword. Meta Knight Sword in this game is so much fun. As is the upgrade to it that comes after. I mean, granted, yes, it is like the upgraded version is stupid how good it is. But, you know,
the way this Coliseum is laid out, I just expected Tiny Tiger to jump down for some reason.
You know what? It actually does kind of look like Crash Bandicoot now that you mention it.
It's like the only thing missing are like the trapdoors at the top that spit lions out at you.
They could throw Waddle Dees down at the ground. It would probably make sense.
They'd be about as threatening.
I like the chain bomb.
Oh, chain bomb and the other bomb upgrade, the ones they like walk on their own. I think that that is one of my favorite upgrades that the game has.
What, like little Kirby bob-ombs?
Yeah, they like kind of like walk around on their own. I think it's really cool.
My favorite bomb power in any game to this day is from Age of Calamity, because when you're playing as Sheikah Slate Zelda.
Oh, dude, that thing's so cool. Oh man, I need to like play that game again. The fact that I never beat it is just like, it's sad because it is really, really good. I just kind of wore myself out on Hyrule Warriors in general.
Oh yeah, I can understand that. You spent ages on that goddamn game.
Yeah, I also like, the structure is different, but it's not bad different. It's just different. So that kind of threw me.
Yeah, they kind of like merged some concepts that the first game explored in adventure mode into the main story and sort of pared them down so that they didn't break up the pace too much.
Yeah, because like you have on the map the same kind of missions that you would have exclusively in the adventure mode. They're just like only on the map.
Yeah. And you do them in between main series missions instead of doing the main story all at once and then doing the adventure mode later.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I mean, in terms of like gameplay, that's a better balance because you have something to like break up the time with. This was actually, though, it's part of the problem that I had with this, where I'm just compelled to do everything as soon as I get it. So, that makes it so that you feel like you're taking forever in between main story missions.
And you feel compelled to grind for materials maybe a little sooner than is wise.
Yeah. But, I mean, you could always just, like, not. Nothing is forcing you to do that. So.
Yeah, you kind of have to slide yourself into a mindset where you look at a mission where it's asking you to get these materials, and it's like, you know what? I bet they'll just give me those materials in the next few missions.
Yeah, exactly.
And usually they do. I don't think it's until like really late in the game where you actually actively have to grind to complete stuff.
I believe so. At the very least, in terms of Hyrule Warriors, you were always able to get the most important upgrades right away, which are the move upgrades, like being able to use all your combos, because that's like the thing that makes the game fun. In the original, you were always able to get those, and you were like grinding materials for like, oh, you need 1 extra point of defense, or you need another or you want to have like the elemental boost to your attack. Like, that's what you had to grind for, but getting all of the basic stuff was usually pretty quick.
Ah, yeah. When was the last time you played the game, by the way? Was the DLC out by then?
It was not, actually. I think I stopped right before it came out. So I do need to go back to it for sure.
You got some stuff to look forward to then. There's the addition of Motorcycle Zelda.
Yo, man. Does she have a jacket?
I don't think she has a jacket, but I think there are costumes in the game, so I don't know. Maybe one will fit that look.
Yo, like, I mean, you have to have a leather jacket. Otherwise, you're not actually riding a motorcycle. It's not me. This is science. Science proves this.
Well, it's generally wise to wear a jacket when you're on a motorcycle, yes.
Oh, because it's cold. Fun fact, the human body is not intended to move at 60 miles per hour. I know, crazy, right?
It's cold. There is the wind chill, but there's also just like skin exposure to wind at that speed is not good for you. And you're just going to hit bugs and stuff at 60 miles an hour. Imagine the feeling of something very small hitting your bare skin at 60 miles an hour. Now you know why.
That's kind of like getting hit by a bullet, actually.
Yeah, now you know why Claire Redfield is wearing a jacket and jeans in the remake, because holy shit.
Isn't there a line about how she should have been wearing her biking gear in like the book? And she's
and I'm pretty sure the only reason you know that is because I mentioned it 5 or 6 times in previous.
Absolutely, but that's okay.
More importantly, we're fighting Meta Knight, the coolest guy in the Kirby series.
This boss fight is awesome. The music's great. It's like kind of a semi remix of the credits theme from Revenge of Meta Knight in Superstar. And it's also just much more dynamic than the other fights, so it feels like a real sword battle. I know that it doesn't look like that when I'm just standing next to him and swinging the huge thing over and over, but it gets cooler once you get to the waypoint here, and he starts like throwing rocks at you.
Might you even say it helps you get motivated?
I don't get your reference, but
you need to play. You need more Devil May Cry in your life.
Probably.
It's one of Virgil's taunts, and it sort of became a meme.
I think it was his taunt in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, actually.
Yeah, it's like, you know.
I love this detail here where if you get the Meta Knight sword, he comes back with the sword from Adventure.
Yeah, and if you pick up his sword, you get the Meta Knight upgrade early, which is also really cool. Yeah. This boss fight's just really, really cool. And the upgraded one in the True Coliseum is also really fun. And we'll be seeing more next part, but Meta Knight's sword is absolutely broken. And it's not, we haven't even reached its final form. Oh, look, he's so cute. Now he's gone.
I like how he disappears as
Who
quickly
won,
as
Meta Knight or
possible.
Meta Knight?
Oh, man, Meta Knight. You sure showed that Meta Knight who's boss.
I sure did, Waddle Dee.
You just gotta know. You just gotta like appreciate the disrespect of stealing Meta Knight's sword, and Kirby putting on a Meta Knight mask to fight Meta Knight.
Yeah, he's like, I imagine that Kirby's like genuinely just like, Meta Knight, look how cool you are, and then Meta Knight's just like, don't you make fun of me, you condescending prick. I know what you're trying to do. Although the way Ryan did his voice, I'm trying to imagine like Christian Bale Batman with a Hispanic accent.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm more doing his Smash Brothers interpretation. You're more familiar with his anime version.
How are you doing, Meta Knight? Very badly.
That's mood. That's a mood, Meta Knight.
The only thing that would make it better is if Kirby had an actual taunt mechanic to mix with this.
He's got like, if you press the D-pad, he'll like do little things, like he'll wave high and he'll sit down. But that's not so much of a taunt as him just kind of like being cute. So it doesn't really work. But yeah, try to save gems for the Meta Knight sword. It's the first tier 3 upgrade you get, so it does cost a lot compared to everything else that's available, but it's just so good. You'll basically murder every boss fight for the rest of the game if you have it equipped. So,
for example, we're gonna go do Colorline again.
Oh yeah, you're right. I believe I do that. Oh yeah, I specifically waited until I got Meta Knight's sword to do that, because I ain't got time to do that shit without the best ability in the game. Okay, technically it's not the best ability in the game. Morpho Knight's sword is the best ability in the game, but it's literally the same thing, except every time you get a hit, you heal, which is like absurd.
It's also more powerful and faster, and
there's
you
also
can charge it up and it becomes the size of the giant sedge. It's just so much better than every way.
Yeah, you also, I think, like, instead of blocking, you like go invisible and like teleport and stuff. So it's also has a perfect block, which I think the only other move with the perfect block in this game is ice.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And even then, I think it can break, so it's not even as good as the other ones.
So I realize this is a controversial opinion, probably, but my favorite world in the game is the next one coming up, just the winter place.
Oh well, Ryan also said this was his favorite. That was his favorite one.
Yeah, and like, I get the feeling that most people would gravitate toward like the louder, more colorful, sort of gimmickier levels that feel more like, well, Kirby levels, I suppose.
Yeah. My favorite worlds are worlds 3 and 5. So I guess like I'm a basic bitch in that one, but it's certainly a good world for sure. It's less kinetic.
It's got
and
the best
more
music
relaxed.
track in the game. So
I disagree. I don't, but we'll get to that in the next part.
It's kind of like ever since I played Breath of the Wild, I've had a deeper appreciation for the relaxing things in video games, and I've started to come to levels that I probably wouldn't have thought much of, and realized, hey, this is kind of zen. I like it.
I mean, Kirby is also a good game to just relax because you don't have to try very hard. Like you can very easily just play this game and like go, and you don't have to do like the beat the level with the special time or whatnot. Like those options are there, but having a relaxing option, I think, is just good. There's not as there's a lower commitment required than even something like Mario, which I think is nice to have as an option.
Yeah, definitely.